Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video that I am trying to get in during one of Noah's naps here. He is home from daycare for a little bit, so I wasn't able to do this yesterday. I just wanted to do a brief video on this week's story developments and kind of where this season is going overall. As we can see, we're in the central story hub here. I love how there's just piles of gold everywhere, which is... I feel like Zavala has to be going nuts about this because like gold is not even like a currency in Destiny, which so like essentially this is just garbage, which I find kind of hilarious. Okay, so this is mostly about these relics that we're collecting, and now we have 3 of these. 2 of them are kind of the same, but we are starting to learn more about them. You can't just pile gold on like the servers and stuff. What are you doing? I guess it's part of the egg core being everywhere. But there are essentially 3 main things that I see happening with this season. In terms of where the story's going. The first is this kind of relationship between, or this dynamic between Spider, Mithrax, and Eido, where, you know, I like Eido as a character. I just think that that one is a little obvious, where it's, you know, eventually Mithrax is going to have to confront his history with, you know, being this warrior that murdered a bunch of Guardians, and he was like this bloodthirsty Kel, and his daughter doesn't really know the full extent of that, which, you know, I get that's somewhat compelling, but I am more curious about 2 things that are happening. The first is the thing that keeps happening with Spider, where we keep going into him and getting these little fake engrams from him, but every time this happens, there's some sort of like energy spike that Eido is trying to help us track, and she says next time that happens, we'll be able to figure out what exactly is going on. I assume Spider is trying to betray us somehow, and that's where things are going here. But until that kind of develops further, we don't know too much more about it. But I do think that is something to pay attention to, and I'm somewhat curious to see how exactly Spider is planning to betray us, since he obviously is going to, even though we saved him, which would be kind of a dick move on his part. The more interesting thing is the kind of overall plot of the season, which is collecting these relics. I assume this is all going to be filled. I thought there was only like 6 pirate lords total. Maybe there's 8. I'm not sure. I think should be in triumphs, right? Pirate lords defeated. So 3 out of 4. I think there's 8. Yeah, that would make sense. So we'll get 8 reprised lost sectors, I guess. This week was the empty tank backwards, which not going to complain about that, as we discussed in a previous video about content recycling. But what is interesting here is this week we learned that what is in these things is something, it's not just like darkness, it's something like biological. And there's the Drifter talking about how there's like bits of hair and knuckle bones in them. So this appears to be a chopped up body to some extent, which is a little odd. And there have been a number of theories about what exactly is going on here. There's a few theories I've read about who this might be in here, and I don't know if any of these are based on leaks, so if they are, don't tell me. But one theory is that this could be Toland, like Toland's actual body, since we never actually found that, and we have not seen Toland in a while. The second theory is Nezarec, the mysterious god of pain, or whatever he was. Gotta watch that whole Bife video. Where Nezarec's sin was the exotic that we had way back when, and it was this kind of cryptic passage about this seemingly evil like entity that used to haunt things back in the day. But Nezarec's whisper just came back in the form of the glaive, and now it seemed like there have been a few passing references to Nezarec over the years and over the months, and it seems like things are maybe building toward Nezarec being introduced as an actual component into the game. The idea is maybe this is his body here, and he was, I think, kind of like an almost disciple of the darkness, but ultimately went against him. I got to do more Nezarec research, but the idea here is that these artifacts, these biological remnants, contain some sort of darkness-based power. And one interesting line from this week was that Eido says, "I don't know what would happen if I open these and how that would affect my physiology." So that's a little bit of a hint, maybe, up towards something happening. The one theory here is that Eido could be exposed to some sort of thing here. There have long been theories that either Mithrax or Eido or both will be the first Fallen Guardians, that they will get the light from the Traveler, and there's been some dialogue this season about how they don't, like, they're trying to process, or Mithrax in particular is trying to process why the Traveler would give the light to Savathun and the Hive and not him and the Fallen, which does not seem terribly fair. But if you could see, I don't know how this would give them the light, but you could see maybe Eido getting darkness powers, whether that's stasis or the beginnings of what will become Strand. That is something that I am curious about. Also, the Drifter is shipping these artifacts to, well, they're here right now, but in the lore, he is shipping them to Erisborn. And other than working on this little love story between Drifter and Eris, which is very cute, I think there are some real implications for that, where last season, Eris and Drifter were studying egregore and the properties of egregore. And I know everyone is giving me a lecture about how Lightfall will be all about, you know, discovering Strand and how to use Strand and unlocking Strand. I maintain that Strand has its roots in egregore, and that we are working on discovering Strand now, and that I think Eris will be key to our discovery and use of Strand, even if we end up being the first Guardian to actually use it. There are too many similarities between egregore. Egregore is this network, organic darkness material network that connects everyone to the Witness, where Strand is described as, you know, a network that is in the universe that people can pull literal threads from, hence the strands, you know, strings and stuff, and all the ropes everywhere. Those are like psychic network strings that we are manifesting into physical reality. So between egregore having that capability and whatever this darkness infused material is that Eris is also studying now, you know, I feel like next season could bring something else that perhaps contributes to Eris studying something new that is maybe the third element, where when all of these are combined, maybe that produces Strand, and then maybe the process of that kind of unfolds as we play through Neptune in Lightfall. Again, that's just my theory. I just don't know why they would keep having Eris do all this research for stuff. Maybe it's just for lore, maybe it's just to like learn what egregore is and learn what's in here and whatever, but it feels like it's something that is building toward a larger whole. And what we know about Strand, that it is a darkness power, that it is this, you know, unseen psychic network of, throughout the universe, threading all living things, like kind of, you know, like the Force. There's too many similarities to kind of what we're seeing here with egregore and now these new objects that I would be pretty shocked if they were completely unrelated. So that's where things are going. I don't know. I think I don't know exactly how many weeks of story. I think we're going to get probably 8 weeks of story if there are 8 Pirate Lords. And then I believe there is some sort of community event thing happening later. I don't know when that starts. I'm not going to get into that. I don't think it's State of Mind. I think it's just in the Triumph somewhere, but I'll get to that another day. And that does have to do with some things we're talking about here. But so even if this story, you know, initially is just like fun pirate swashbuckling, like I do think there are deeper layers to it here and stuff that is building toward Lightfall and maybe Strand, whether we currently realize it or not. So that is what happened this week, and I'm going to go play some Iron Banner probably. I also need to finish farming. I did get my 2 upgrades for the week here. What did I unlock? I unlocked this one, so you get Plunder gear from expedition missions, and this one for focus spoils. But I still only have one of these actually unlocked as a pattern. So I'm working on, I think I have 4 sidearms and 4 machine guns. So we're getting there. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later.